Why is Bitcoin hard to understand? Nyajong, welcome. Wherever you are in the world today, I'm glad you guys can stop by. It's been a while since I made a video, but I'm back and it's mid-November 2024 and Bitcoin is around 90K, edging closer and closer to that 100K mark. Before I dive into why Bitcoin is hard to understand, let me just make some random comments about Bitcoin when it hits 100K. Bitcoin at 100K is like a bell or sound you cannot ignore. It's like a bell that will be rung around the world, a buzzer that everyone will have to hear. Bitcoin at 100K is a psychological number that will make people around the world start to research Bitcoin. You will start to see the number of searches in Google go up for the word Bitcoin. At 100K, you can no longer ignore it, and everyone must form an opinion, and because every other people will be asking you about your opinion. Bitcoin at 100K will price you out. By this, I mean the way to stop people from buying Bitcoin is not to crash the market and drive the price down. The real way to stop people from buying Bitcoin is to drive the price up, to make it so expensive that the average individual cannot afford it. For example, if you want to keep people out of an exclusive neighborhood, you don't want to drive the prices of those homes down. You want to drive those prices up. Drive it up so high that the average individual cannot afford to come into that neighborhood. This is how the financial elites will take Bitcoin away from the average individual. And that will begin when Bitcoin hits $100,000 per coin. It will be almost impossible for the average individual to drop 100K for one Bitcoin. This will be my last comment. I thought this was kind of funny when I saw it on Bitcoin Twitter. The comment reads, Bitcoin is life-changing. I know my wife doesn't like my sarcasm in real life, and she probably doesn't like it here either in the digital world. But honey, what he really meant to say was that Bitcoin is life-changing. Anyways, let's get back on track. Let's talk about why Bitcoin is hard to understand. As you go deeper and deeper into your own Bitcoin journey, you will hear different people try to explain how they see and understand Bitcoin. And my explanation here is just one of those opinions. I think the key to understanding Bitcoin is in the concept of value. What does the word value mean to you? What does it mean to me? Value is subjective. That means that when I see something, I may value it differently from you. And when you see something, you will value it differently from me. If you and I both have a different meaning of value, then we will always have a communication problem. And because we have a communication problem, we will always have a conflict. And that's why personal finance is such a touchy subject. Bitcoin has the same problem. Because we see Bitcoin differently, we will value it differently, which makes it hard for us to understand and even harder for us to explain. This makes Bitcoin a touchy subject, just like politics or religion. However, today I will try my best to explain my definition of value so we can have a deeper understanding of it. To me, value has to be able to be transmitted over time. A good place to start with this is in the concept of money. What is money? Money has value because it can be transmitted over time. Now, there's a difference between money and currency, which we won't go over here. But for now, just think of currency as the current value. It cannot be transmitted over time. That's why people use dollar currency to buy real estate, because real estate is a better form of money that can be transmitted over time. So how does this apply to Bitcoin? This applies to Bitcoin because over time, Bitcoin becomes more and more valuable. It's a better form of money in every aspect. So the next question is, how much are you willing to pay to transmit your value or money? And the answer is whatever the current price of Bitcoin is at the moment. Because the current price of Bitcoin is the price you will have to pay to transmit your money over time. It is a product that everyone in the world will want. It is a product that everyone will need. They just don't know it yet. It is a product to protect your money into the future. It is a product that will protect your money from government debasement and inflation. It is a product that will protect your money from your ex-wives and lawyers. It is a product that will protect your money from thieves and banks. It's like your Second Amendment, the right to bear arms to protect your money. And you get that protection from paying the current price of Bitcoin so that you can store your value into the future. Understanding value is even difficult for the brightest mind. Let's watch a video I just saw about value that I thought was pretty interesting.
I can sell you a $20 million painting, but I can't tell you why a piece of code is money. That's an interesting paradox. So that was the journey. And so I dove deep and began to question, well, what is money exactly? I thought it was currency. I was wrong. And then what creates value? Why do things have value? What is it about us that ascribes value to things? And then I literally went down a rabbit hole. And it's actually not too far off what Michael Saylor or some of these people talk about, do 100 to 1,000 hours on it. And you really dive into podcasts and dive into the books and ask yourself, go on an intellectual journey about what does all this stuff mean and why is it important? And then there's startling insights that I have now at age 59 that I didn't have at age 57 that came from this journey. You want an example? I didn't realize that if the average year the money printer goes, call it 8 to 10%, even in the Western countries, even in the OECD nations, and the average return on the S&P 500 is, call it 9-ish%, including dividends, maybe 9.7, maybe a little less, that it means that all of the work of the S&P 500, all of the value created there is actually the money printer. That to me was startling. I mean, to think about that, the fundamental notion that in a closed system or even an open system, when you're printing money at the rate of 8 to 10% a year, everything is losing value. And the things that appear to be gaining value are not gaining value. They're just keeping you even. So you can put all your money in the S&P 500 and you're not gaining any relative wealth at all.
This is the former CEO of Sotheby's, Tad Smith. It is his job to know what value is. Even he is still struggling with the concept of value at the age of 59. In my opinion, I don't think the concept of value can be taught. Until you can take the concept of value into your life and apply it, you will always struggle to understand it. Why is understanding value essential? Why is it important? It is important because until you have a good understanding of what value is, you won't have a good idea where to store your value. Bitcoin is often a lonely road. You cannot stack Bitcoin in its darkest time if you don't have 1,000% conviction. There are many people who go to bed with the person they love, and that person is also their number one enemy when it comes to Bitcoin. There are people who you eat with every day that don't have faith in you stacking Bitcoin just for them. The people you are trying to protect and die for do not have faith in what you're doing. And it takes conviction that is so deep to keep stacking for generational wealth. Bitcoin is often a lonely road. It's going to be like that for a while until Bitcoin hits $1 million per coin. Till then, you must keep stacking your conviction and keep building your concept of value and keep applying it to your daily life. As always, I encourage everyone to figure out how you can become rich in Bitcoin. Hopefully, in your journey to becoming rich, you will figure out the true value of Bitcoin and bring that value back into our community. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Feel free to comment. As always, everything I say here is just my opinion only. 股这给啥事 and it's not financial advice. 用得配了，上得多的股，也别骂他，心机多。